Hey there, friends. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Melissa, and today I'm sharing 3 everyday DIY woodland themed projects to spruce up your home. Let's hop into it. The first project is a mini shelf made from an 11-inch Dollar Tree wood plaque. I paid about $3 for this, and I knew I could make something cute with it. I'm lightly sanding the edges, brushing away any dust, and covering it in one coat of chalk paint in the color hazelnut. I love hazelnut. It really matches with any home decor style and color theme, and you can make it fit in any room. I'll set this aside now to dry while we start our second step. I picked up these birchwood branches together in one pack at Hobby Lobby recently, and I'm going to choose the one that has the fewest curves in it. I'll take this into my shop now and cut off 2 pieces, each at 11 inches, the same width as our wood blank. Use whatever cutting tool you have and feel most comfortable with. These are not difficult to cut. Laying these out on the table, I'm trying to determine which way the 2 pieces will fit together without a gap between them. I need to remove the flaking bark where I want to add small amounts of wood glue to join them, and these zip ties will hold them together while the glue dries. This is a heat transfer that was designed to be used on a t-shirt, but I'll be applying it to our wood plaque. I don't need these words at the bottom, so I'm trimming them off and then using my tape measure to find the center of our wood piece. To find the center of any flexible medium, I find it easy to fold it in half and pinch the top and bottom and use that area as a marker. This works really well when applying any kind of transfer to the surface where you need the image to be centered. I'll transfer this using a piece of parchment and a small crafting iron. Be sure to tape the transfer down so it doesn't move around while you're ironing. And when done, always allow your transfer to cool for about a minute before removing the protective film. Look how beautiful she is. I'm using a flat, clear top coat by Rust-Oleum to seal and protect my work. Once it's dry, it's time to attach our birch logs. The wood glue hadn't really dried yet. I guess I didn't give it enough time, but I was ready for the next step, so I secured the pieces together using just a modest amount of hot glue and did the same to secure the logs to the plaque. I'm not real sure what these picks are, but they're beautiful and they came in a larger bunch I picked up at Hobby Lobby, and the stems were about 26 inches long before cutting them down for this project. I'm placing a finial on the top of here to give it a little extra character, but I do end up removing it later because the finial base is just a little too wide for the top of this, and I really would have needed a smaller one. Just keeping the footage in here so that you can see that adding a small detail like this can take it to the next level. This is cute as it is, but I like a certain amount of detail on my projects. Using the right embellishment, I think, gives it a high-end look and makes it a well thought out gift if you choose to give it away. If you guys like this project, keep watching, thumbs up the video, and consider subscribing to my channel. These videos take a lot of time to create, and while I do enjoy every minute of it, your support lets YouTube know you find value in this content. I strive to bring you fresh ideas with projects you haven't seen before. If this sounds good to you, press that notification bell and share me with your friends. Moving on, I am making 2 tiny knots in a strand of jute to cover the mounting holes in this tiny tag. Never skip these finishing touches. It's what makes your work stand out from the rest. Using more of that same jute rope, I cut 4 strands at approximately 3 inches and used 2 together on each side of the logs, gluing them on and making them look like they were originally bound together with rope. You don't want to tie these together with rope before attaching them to the plaque because it'll create a space between the logs and the plaque that you don't want. I mistakenly left out a clip where I cut down and glued 2 pieces of a wood coffee stir stick to the underside of the logs just to give them a little bit more security. Hopefully you can see them here. This rope will cover the sticks nicely. Flipping it over to the back side, you can see that I painted it just to finish it off. And I think this is a good place to mention that the 2 sawtooth hangers included aren't really necessary here. I removed them and reattached just one at the top center of the plaque. And as you can see, it hangs beautifully. Here she is completed. I felt that it was missing a little something, so I added in those few sprigs of dried wheat and a lace bow draping over the stems. This can be hung on the wall like so, or sit upright on a countertop or mantle. I really like the outcome of this. It was easy, it didn't take long to create, and by my standard it looks store-bought, high-end. What do you think? Do you like this one? For the second project, we're making an embellished cylinder vase. We're using air-dried clay and these 3 silicone molds. I've linked these down below for you should you want to recreate this project. To keep the video time to a minimum, I planned placement and prepared my clay embellishments off camera. I start by gluing 1 piece on at a time. There's no rush here, take your time. I'm using Dollar Tree wood glue super glue, but almost any glue will do the trick. A viewer recently shared that she uses Titebond Quick and Thick to glue her clay onto a surface. Now this glue will set you back a few more dollars, but I agree that it is a fantastic option. And anytime I'm working on a vertical or round vessel, I like to secure the clay as I go with small pieces of painter's tape to ensure they don't slide around while I move on with the project. When piecing clay together, I lightly spritz the area with water and use a silicone tip tool to smooth out the seams. Once I have everything laid down, I'm going to place this off to the side for 15 to 20 minutes to give it a little time to dry. Coming back to the project, the glue is now dry. The clay is still wet, which is perfect for accepting paint. Now, painting it while the clay is dry does extend the clay dry time, but it reduces the chance that you'll get cracks in your clay. So for me, the extra time to dry is worth it in the end. I've had this color black currant in chalk paint for a while, and I was excited to try it out on this vase. It took 2 coats to cover every nook and cranny of the vase and clay. I wanted the clay to stand out from the background, but be subtle at the same time. So I mix a little bit of white into the black currant to lighten it up a bit and start applying it to just the clay areas. I lightly brush against the grain to bring out the details. As a reminder, paint while wet will be a shade lighter than the end result when dry, so just keep that in mind when you're getting it on here. If you prefer a matte finish, seal your vase with a matte top coat after the clay has completely dried. Personally, I adore clay projects finished with a high gloss top coat, giving it an enamel-like finish. How stunning! I love how the amber tones in this paint give it definition, and the shine takes it from ordinary to extraordinary. What do you think? Do you prefer a matte or a high gloss finish? Until now, you'd never want to drop your keys or jewelry into a pond, right? Well, I made some mistakes creating this fairy size forest and pond, but the end result is a wow. I am gluing this random stick out of my stash and attaching it to my wood round with a piece of floral foam. And I'm going to hide it with moss. I have a few removable parts you'll see me trying out as I go, one being this hanging clay pot. Stick around for a few more minutes and I'll show you the finished forest with and without the pot. I bought this nest at my local thrift store and it is large enough for birds of prey that nest at the top of trees. Oh my gosh, friends, look at this. We've barely started and it's already so cute. To make a goldfish pond, I'm painting a round trinket dish I picked up at the Dollar Tree. And while it's drying, we're going to start on our forest floor. To create a realistic scene, we need the forest floor to be lush with green moss and other plant life. And I start just by covering the ground with sheet moss, leaving an open space for the pond. And you'll almost always find healthy ferns growing at the foot of trees. I use these leaves from a fern pick in my stash and just trying to glue it down to make it look as realistic as possible, and use a birch wood round here in the back as a plant stand. To add some light to the forest, I'll add in some white plant growth at the base of the tree. I want to also create an interesting foreground, and I'm adding different textures with a variety of wood pieces, pebbles, and moss-covered rocks. Use whatever you have in your stash that can make this spot a little bit more interesting and fun. Again, I'm trying out a few of the removable pieces to ensure everything fits as expected, and then moving on to add some miniatures to the scene. Turning back now to the pond, you can see my horrid attempt to paint a goldfish, air bubbles, and a few lily pads. I literally crack up every time I see this because it looks like it was painted by a 5-year-old child. In fact, I'm pretty sure a 5-year-old could do a better job. This is where I made the mistakes I mentioned earlier in the video. You'll see in a moment that really the only thing that went right with this pond are the lotus flowers I add. I really wanted to try the Dollar Tree epoxy resin and thought that this small project where I need to create faux water was a perfect chance to do that. Something clearly went wrong with the mixture. I don't know what though. I did even parts of each step, mixed it together for the recommended time and all that jazz, and the bubbles were insane. My heat gun solved most of this problem, but the cloudy liquid was still cloudy after curing overnight. Let me know if any of you have tried the Dollar Tree epoxy resin and what your results were. I'm curious to know. If I can find another round trinket tray during a visit to my Dollar Tree, I may redo this step entirely, but for now we're stuck with it and we're just going to move on. The last step here is a little messy but worth it. I used more of those tiny wood sticks from the wreath to coat the outside edge of the pond so it fit naturally into the scene. Here it is with the hanging potted plant. Another option would be to use a tea light inside the pot. And how about a strand of rice lights on the ground to make it look like morning dew? What do you think? More light? No light? And how would you feel about dropping your keys in this pond at the end of a long day? Now here are all three of the projects we did today. I'm excited to learn which is your favorite. And also, folks, this I understand was a longer video. If you've stayed with me until the end, you are truly appreciated. You guys are phenomenal. I can't thank you enough for spending your valuable time with me today. Here's another video you might like, and until next time, friends, craft what you love. See you soon.